Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to do this. And I think the reason why I'm excited to do this is like when I started this like a year ago, and wherever you were like today, you're definitely in a better spot because I started my Substack publication 2 years ago, and it took me a year to write my first post. So if you it took you less than a year, then you're definitely in a better spot. So I want to talk about like where was I like when I first started, right? Like I didn't have any social following. I wasn't kind of like in like the tech ecosystem. Like I was actually living like far, far away in Alexandria, Egypt. I had one thing going for me. Like I worked for like a YC company, but like I was still like very early on. It's not like I could just like cold email like Paul Graham, be like, hey, let's start a Substack, please subscribe. But as you can kind of see, started very slowly, and then you can kind of see the slope improves over time, over time, over time, and then at some point in May, kind of worked out, and then like the entire trajectory of it like is completely different. And the cool thing about like not the cool thing, but like had I not like persevered for like this like year or like 2 years when I actually like didn't write, just like gave up when it was like at the very early like days, like I would have been the worst decision of my life because like writing first 1,000 is like one of the best things like I actually do. Um, so again, just like want to reiterate this point. It's so important for every like publication, for everything you write, like content compounds over time, like it really really does. But the thing is, like, you don't know at what point in time you're going to see this return. It's different for everyone. For me, it was I think around like 5,000 people, or just like be like, okay, like I know that's going to work as long as I like write good content. But like before that, like every post I write, I was just like why am I even doing this, right? It's just like it's so slowly. I feel like I'm like pushing. It's like trying so hard to grow it, but like not seeing that kind of like pull from the market. But I talked to so many people who are a lot more successful than I am, and they told me the same exact thing. It's gonna work out like at some point, just like try to get to that point. So that's what we're gonna talk about, like how to get to that point where like things start to like work organically. So the way I did it was I was like, okay, I was gonna, I said I'm gonna get 1,000 people in like 6 months, and like I picked 1,000 obviously because like my publication is called First 1,000. It was also the beginning of the year, so I happened to start on like June 1st or like May 29th. I was like, okay, I have 6 months. It's gonna be like a new year. Like I'm gonna hit like 1,000 people and just like write like a new year, like celebrate it or like whatever. And then I started taking this goal and like breaking it like down. Okay, like to hit 1,000 people, like I need 170 people per month. Okay, that sounds like doable, but like that's 40 people per week. Okay, that's like 6 people per day. And like when you think about this, it'd be like, okay, if I invest an hour every day to grow, I can get 6 people. Like I know that. Uh, like like 1 hour to find like I would go down the street and just like like take the subway and just like talk to 100 people and be like, please subscribe. Like 6% is gonna convert. Like it will be good. I just need to do this until the end of the year. So just to kind of like reiterate what Katie's been saying, right? Like when you think about like growth, right? There is just like two avenues you can take, right? There's like these like routine efforts, like dull, boring, like stuff that you're just like, I really don't want to do this, It's like it doesn't make me feel good. Like I want to write, I want to be a creator. And there's these like growth experiments, if like which can be a lot more exciting, right? You can just like be like, okay, I'm gonna do something like so innovative, it's gonna go viral, or just like have this like vision. But going one way or the other is not the best strategy, or at least didn't work for me. What worked is kind of combining the two, right? So what I mean by combining the two is I was like, I publish on Sundays. I was Sunday, Monday, I'm gonna get all the creativity out of the way and just like try something crazy, right? Like growth experiments, like whatever I can imagine. But then after Monday, if I didn't hit my weekly target, which was like 40 people, like I'm gonna do the manual work. Like I'm gonna go do all these like routine things that I know are like tried and tested, because I kind of failed at like the kind of like more innovative stuff. And that structure just like was really like really really good for me. Um, so I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a taste about what do we mean by like routine efforts, right? Like what do we mean by like growth experiments from like stuff I've actually done. Um, so before we get there, just like go back to that kind of growth curve. So every like little bump, you can see it's more or less like a growth experiment, just like something I tried in a very small period of time that just like had like massive returns. But you can kind of see like some of them you could like incorporate into your core like tactics as they start working. So like at the beginning it was like manual, and I incorporated referrals, and then now it's like optimizing a little bit more for search, and that kind of moves the trajectory. But like along the way, like these like steady growth, which kind of like you don't see like at the beginning, but those are just like 6 people a day, 7 people a day, like 8 people a day. It's just like you need to get that going so you can actually like hit your target and somehow like just like explode, which I'm sure you all would if you just like stick long enough. Like I promise you, if you do this for 3 years, you write like consistently, and you put together a growth plan and be like, okay, like I'm gonna invest time in growth, like you're gonna become big. I have like 100% confidence in that. Um, so let's start with the boring little stuff that like I kind of did. This was easy. This was like the easiest thing you can do. Like in my signature, I changed it to like a pitch for my newsletter. Whenever I send someone an email, it's like I'm pitching it, and I don't have to write it every. Like at the beginning, I actually used to write it. I was like, oh, like because I didn't want everyone to get it. But then at some point, I was like, yep, I'm just gonna put it in there. I saw some people like come from it, so that's gonna work out. I can't remember how many people I got from there. I think not a lot, like in the tens. But again, like if I had 10 people and like I got 10 more, that's like 100% growth. That's amazing. Um, Second thing I did was kind of post in these founder communities, right? And this is something I really did not want to do. Like I really didn't want to do. I just like I'm like an introvert. That's why I like writing. I don't like doing like podcasts or like videos. And every time I just like have to post somewhere, just like I don't feel good. Like I would be like, oh, like I'm gonna close my eyes and just like hit send and like close my laptop and go have lunch so I don't see the comments. But one thing that really kind of worked out and like I realized over time is if you have something to like to rally people behind, if you have like some sort of celebration or milestone, it makes it a lot easier to like post and like people actually get excited. So I was joining all these communities, and I'm I'm actually I don't know if I'm like one of the few people, but like any community I join, I have like 3 hours blocked off every like Thursday, and that's just like go like contribute to like the communities like I'm part of, like the ones I get the most value from, because like value in like value out. So like I do that like consistently, and I was like, okay, like people like there know me, because like I've been like a member for a little bit, and then whenever like something good happens to the newsletter, just like go and post it there and like have a link, and that just like made it a lot easier. Uh, this one was like easy. Posted in every newsletter directory. That's like it took me 4 or 5 hours to do this, but I think I got it in like 40 or like 50 newsletter directories. I posted a link here about like this is like Indie Hackers post, which has like a few of those newsletter directories, not a few, like a good number. So you can kind of go there, like after you're done today, that's your homework. Just like go there, spend the next like hour like posting your publication there. It's free distribution. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. So go to all those places and you'll pick up some subscribers. Uh, Someone's gonna visit this website. Um, Next thing I did was I created like a LinkedIn series. So this was basically again, something I really didn't want to do, which is going to be a recurring theme today. But I realized whenever I posted about like my very humble like social like media accounts, was like 200-300 people like everywhere. Kind of LinkedIn was the only one that showed some promise. I don't know what is it about their feed, but it kind of like resonated with them. So I get like 1,000 views or something. I was like, okay, like I don't like it. Like I'm not a big fan of LinkedIn. If anyone like works there, I'm sorry. But I was like, this is where the like people are. This is where it's gaining traction, and this is kind of my punishment for not creating like great growth experiments. I'll just like go and just like write one post every day. And what I did after I wrote the first two or three is I wrote the next 20 like seven in like 5 or 6 hours, and I scheduled it because again, like I didn't like the fact that I was posting on LinkedIn, and I turned off notifications. I was like, I don't want to see who interacts with it. I was gonna create like 30-day series. I know like when you post regularly, kind of algorithms like you, and I picked up a bunch of subscribers from there. My boss also subscribed, which was funny. And then cross promotions. So cross promotions are great. They really, really work because the the people on the other side kind of exhibit that behavior of like understanding what a newsletter is, understanding the value of it, and like appreciating that writer, like you're cross promoting with. So you get like extremely high quality people. And one trick I would say is like don't be afraid to like reach out to people with like larger audiences. Like when I first did it with like Product Disrupt, like Darshan had like 3 times as many subscribers as I did, but I would just kind of be like, okay, like I'm gonna write something like more prominent, give you like a bigger call to action. It kind of added me to like interesting reads, and that kind of, kind of worked out like well, because like mine was just like so focused, so you had like much better conversion. Mine was like varied, but I kind of got the ball rolling. And then when I reached out to other people, I'd be like, oh, I did that with like Product Disrupt, and take it from there. So again, like don't be like, oh, like I only have like 100 people, like I cannot do this. Like you can if you want to. Like people are really nice, like especially like in the creator economy. Just like reach out, and you would be surprised by like how many people are willing to help. And then this other thing I did, which is like fairly obvious, is like I just like I write about a question, which is like how X company got their first 1,000 customers. And I just searched that in like Google, and like usually it would be like Quora, like that came up, and I'll just go and answer these questions. Be like, hey, like I actually know a little bit about that since I wrote like 5,000 words or whatever. And they get like few hundred views here, a few hundred views there, like 1,000 views like here. But like this, I get like 1-2% conversion. Like that's good, right? That's for like 5 minutes of my time. Like if I can do like 10 of those like every day, like I'll definitely get 6 people. Again, like the goal is just to get 6 people every day. That's the end of kind of the routine stuff that I did. And now to the kind of more interesting, I hope, like growth stuff, which like disclosure, like most of the stuff I tried didn't work. So this is like a little bit of selection bias because you're gonna see some of the stuff that did. Also a few examples of like stuff that didn't, but yeah. So the first one that was like, this was I think my second post like ever on like Substack, is I posted it. I like posted it on like Hacker News, and somehow it got picked up kind of like on the homepage. I think I got like tens of thousands of like visitors, to like come to like my Substack. And then kind of the next morning, like I was like searching, like first 1,000.substack.com, and I found like this like tweet from like Guy Kawasaki, and just like also like found like a LinkedIn post from him. Just like, I don't know, he saw it on like Hacker News, he liked it, and just like posted it on his like social, and that was like a very validating moment. But like for every one of those, like there's so many that didn't work. Um, and then I kind of created these resources for people to share. So before like I had my referral program, I wanted to test it. Like would would people actually refer other people to this thing? So I was like, okay, I'm talking about this company, and like I kind of found their early pitch deck, and then I found like some other pitch decks, and like grouped them together and be like, okay, like if you want to access, I think this was like Spotify. So if you want to access the Spotify like pitch deck, like from their like seed or series A, along with like these few others, just like post about like my newsletter somewhere, and just like reply to this email, and like I'll give you access to all these decks. And this worked phenomenally. Like people just really liked it because it was so related to like what I just wrote about. It was kind of like bonus content, which is like very interesting. Like I would want to see what Spotify looked like when they were like 10 people. And then like to just like double down on that, I just like started like asking people to kind of post about it and like giving them like gift cards, right? So I was like, okay, if you like post about it like on your LinkedIn or like in your company Slack, I'll just send you like $25. I think I experimented with like a lot of different numbers, and that sort of also worked like really well, right? It's like, in terms of like ROI per like second, I think this might be like one of like the highest like ways you can make money. It takes you like 3 seconds to post, and $25 for 3 seconds is like really good, I think. And then I tried to do like a little bit of like, I don't know, like stunts. So this was like one of them. Um, for those of you that don't know, like Kinsey Grant, she did like the business casual like podcast when she was at Morning Brew. She has a podcast now called Thinking is Cool, which is really cool. But they wanted to launch like a newsletter for their podcast, and she had like a relatively large social following, and she posted this tweet, right, to be like, oh, just like comment your like email here, and like I'll add you to like our subscriber list. So I kind of be like, huh, like those kind of readers are just like, I think would be like good like people for the newsletter. Just like reach out to them, be like, hey, like first of all, you shouldn't put your like email on Twitter, like this is really bad, like blah blah blah. Also have this like publication, which I think is like so much better than like business casual. And here's like, like a link to it, and here's like what I wrote about like last time. And a lot of people like actually went and like subscribed after that. It's like they just thought it was like funny that like I reached out and like stuff like that. And this is kind of like one of the biggest things that like worked for me was like when I launched on like Product Hunt. And primarily because I think, I mean, it's so easy to just like make up reasons when something works, but I was just like a good audience, right? Like everyone there kind of is starting something. They just launched it and like Product Hunter, they know someone who did, or they're thinking about it, or they're interested in those kinds of stuff. And I was like a good resource for them. So I came up with this like launch plan and spend, I think like for this, I spent like 100 hours on like the launch, which sounds a little bit weird because if you know Product Hunt, you literally have to submit a link and 4 pictures. But I kind of like spend a lot of time like like getting people like on board and like telling them I'm gonna launch and like asking them to like tweet about it, asking them to like support me, and like going back in like my contact list and be like, okay, like who do I know there? And just like spent like put together like an actual proper plan like I would if I had like a company, and just like implemented like on it. um, I think that got me like 5,000 subscribers, which is like a lot considering before that I had like 3,000 maybe. So I was just like more than double in like one day, which is awesome. And then kind of as I started like picking up like traction, like people who kind of read it, um, and like hear about it on like Twitter. Some of them would kind of, like give me like shout outs because they really like the content, or just like write like a little bit about it in like their Substack. Be like, hey, like this last post from First 1000 is like really good, or you can kind of like ties into what I'm writing about today and stuff like that. As you start to grow and like cultivate those relationships, like these stuff just like kind of like start happening and really help you like accelerate your growth. And then, as I said earlier, like those kind of like gift cards and resources to share, I took that and just like created it into like a referral program and like had these milestones. And there's a lot of interesting things like I did there. Like one of those things was every month, everyone's referral count go back to zero. Um, and all the rewards kind of change. So it creates a little bit of a FOMO. Because if you like here, you can see from May, like if you got 10 referrals in a month, I'll kind of give you a shout out on the newsletter, but it has to be within May because June 1st, everyone goes back to zero. So it kind of motivates people to like do it. And also it makes the milestones like achievable. So if you got like 10 people this month, next month you need to get one more person and you get a new reward. So it kind of makes it like a very interesting dynamic there versus if I just had it like one like static one. After you hit a certain milestone, it just becomes so hard. Like if you go from like 50 and then the next milestone is 250, it's just like it becomes so hard for people to achieve. And I think I got can't remember, but I got probably more than 20 people who have more than 100 like referrals, and that's because of that kind of like gamified and like dynamic to it. I guess I don't know. Like I'm just guessing. But not everything worked. A lot of things didn't work, and I just really, really, really want to share a few examples because I really want to drive this point home. As a lot of those experiments like don't work. Like they really like a lot of them don't. When they do, they're like great. But if you don't invest like your time doing like all these routine stuff that you should do, maybe it doesn't make you feel good. But like if you like really want to grow your Substack, then like you have to do these. If you don't know and just like depend and be like, oh, I'm gonna come up with like 100 crazy way to like grow my like Substack, it's like you're gonna give up on like number like 59 if like nothing worked. But if you have this like steady growth going on, even though it's a little bit manual, you're actually like gonna have like this stamina, right? Be like, okay, like I had 100 people, now I have 110. Like that's good. Like that's momentum, and you really need to drive this momentum at the beginning. Like it's not just gonna happen. Like, it's not. So some of the stuff that failed is this is funny actually because kind of didn't fail and like kind of like did fail big time. So there's this podcast I love called like All In Podcast by like Shamath, like David Sachs, David Friedberg, and like Jason Calacanis. And like they had this thing like at the time it was like, oh, we're gonna outsource our IP to like our listeners and they can make bank out of it. So I created this merch store and kind of created like everyone has like a nickname on the show. So kind of created like everyone's like nickname and put it like on like t-shirts and like I tweeted at them, and then Jason like saw it, and like he go tweeted it, and like this got like thousands, tens of thousands of impressions actually, and I think it brought like a few thousand people to the store, but like only one person converted, made like $9 like out of it. It's like I messaged him after, be like, hey, I have a publication. Do you want to subscribe to it? And he actually did. So that was like one out of one. But like that didn't really work. Like it didn't really drive like any growth. Another thing I kind of mentioned, which was my second post, like Guy Kawasaki saw it and he tweeted about it, with a LinkedIn post about it. And then I tried to post in Hacker News for 51 times and it did not work. So that was my first time. I was like, oh, like if I just got featured like every other week, like I'll be like at 100,000 people in no time. But it really just like it didn't work. It was like this one time that like it happened for some reason. And yeah, like these stuff, like when they do, it's amazing, but when they don't, it can be really frustrating. Experimented with ads, did not work, surprisingly, because I was competing against like the company, right? So I'd be like, how did DoorDash get their first 1,000 customers? And like DoorDash would like bid on the same like keyword, which is like DoorDash, and like obviously they have a little bit more money than I do. So I'd always lose to them. And like when I win, I was just like the extremely expensive and product hunt launch. So I kind of like talked a little bit earlier about how like I had this like launch and got 5,000 people in one day. It was amazing. And you all should like go and like launch. But this was my second launch actually. The first one I had, I got 13 upvotes, I got 6 subscribers, and I was like so frustrated. And kind of took me 6 months to kind of have the courage to like go back and like do it like properly. But the second time I did it, I actually took it a little bit more seriously, right? Not a little bit more, like a lot more seriously. And that's something I learned is like you need to be serious about your growth, and you need to invest the time. And yeah, this is the last one. I thought Product Hunt was the last one, but back when Clubhouse was cool, I kind of would eat like people who like subscribed who had just like very high like open rate. I kind of would like email them and like be like, hey, like if you share like first 1,000, like I'll give you like invites to like these coveted like apps because I spend a lot of time like beta testing new apps. And I thought this will like I really thought this was gonna kill us. Like Clubhouse is like everyone wanted to invite to it. I think like one person like took me up on it, which was really surprising to me. Um, that's it. That's my email. Email me anytime if you have any questions about growing your Substack. Just like shoot it at me. I'll get back to you. Like I read every email. And yeah, that's it.